Hello, I'm the Beauty Professor, and you can find my beauty blog at beautyprofessor.net. I hope you're having a fantastic summer. I spent the larger part of June and a bit of July even traveling, and now I am enjoying some true summertime at home. It's incredibly hot, sweltering even at the beach here, like it is in many places in the summertime, but I'm hanging in there and just really grateful to be at home. I've got some travel coming up next month, but in the meanwhile, I'm looking forward to cranking out content as much as humanly possible. Just a quick word on my outfit. I'll make sure to link to some hoops very similar to these, as well as my shirt, which is Vince, and I purchased it during the Nordstrom anniversary sale. Recently, I asked you guys what type of video you may want to see, and you guys came back with a nice host of requests, one of which was a summertime look that is glowy and easy to achieve. So I thought this would be the perfect time, as we're in the absolute dead of summer, to share that look with you. I'll be working with products including a brand new foundation launch that I've been testing for the last month, and that's the CdPB The Foundation. So I'm excited to share this look with you, and of course I'll be starting with a bare canvas so I can walk us through the steps. Let's get started with a discussion on my current skincare for this look. So I've been working with the Skin Clinical Reverse Anti-Aging Light Therapy. I've been a big fan of red light therapy for quite a while, and this one is so handy because it's cordless. Red light therapy works to stimulate collagen production. If you use it regularly, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't get hot. You just move it over your face, and it also helps to fight bacteria. So if you have a pernicious spot, it can help you to heal more quickly. It might even keep it from developing into something more substantial. And I make sure to bring it through my forehead, of course my cheeks, and then my lower region of my face on a regular basis to help my skin look and perform at its best. Next, I've already put a few dots of the La Mette de Beauté Longevity Cream, which I'm on the second jar of, and I'm about halfway through this one. So I think that's just indicative of how much I use it and have loved it this summer. This cream is 1% resveratrol, which helps to increase cell turnover, but you just end up in some with a fresh, healthy looking canvas. My skin has definitely transformed with this particular cream, and like I said, I've used it long enough to be able to calibrate a difference. And it also imparts a lovely, very subtle glow, so it's great for day and night. Then I've applied just a dot of the Charlotte Tilbury Unisex Healthy Glow All Year Hydrating Summer Tint Moisturizer. Quite a long name, but a great product I've been reaching for very frequently. It starts off white, and then as it adapts to your skin tone, it takes on a slightly tan rosy hue that's of course sheer and just blends out into your skin for a little evenness. It's great for like no makeup days, but I prefer it as a step right prior to foundation. Finally, another way that I like to enhance my glow is with the Sisley Radiant Glow Express Mask, and this is a red clay version. So it works to, of course, draw impurities to the surface and make sure that your skin is as clean as it can be, but it also creates a nice glow. I have used this both as a mask treatment, but also as an overnight treatment when I need some extra glow restoration. So I just wanted to mention this was something I used last night, and of course my skin the next day definitely benefits. On to foundation. I'm excited to be working with the CdPB The Foundation formula. This is an SPF 21 cream foundation, and I will have swatches of every available shade, of course, on my blog, which I'll link to below. I've determined that my correct shade match for this dead of summer skin is 040, and this foundation is the creme de la creme in terms of formula in the CdPB line. Of course, all the CdPB formulas are incredibly luxurious, but this one is intended to be at the top hierarchical place in this lineup. The foundation boasts very glowy, buildable coverage. I can get nearly full coverage, though it looks like a very natural skin finish with a beautiful sheen. So I'm going to be applying it. A little goes a long way, and it is intended to be applied with your fingers. I'm going to use my fingers a little bit, and then I'm going to use a beauty blender to create a seamless finish. So I've distributed what amounts to about a pea size and a half of foundation all over my face. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my fingers to buff it into my skin. And you'll see what I mean about a little going a long way here. It really does impart great coverage while still looking very natural. And even though it looks like not that much on the skin at first, you notice that it really blends out in a way that definitely creates coverage. I'm going to take my beauty blender and just buff. 040 is a perfect match for my skin right now. I could not get a better match. I was using 030 a little bit earlier this summer, but 040 is definitely the right match now. This is with the foundation completely blended out, and you can see that it does offer a glow, but it's not a shimmery glow. It's just a beautiful skin finish glow. I photographs in a lovely fashion as well. I've posted photographs as I've been experimenting with this foundation, and people have said your skin has such a natural, healthy sheen. It really does create a beautiful canvas, and yet the coverage is significant enough to even things out and minimize pores and fine lines. So this is just the foundation. I'm going to go ahead and go on to my next step. But as aforementioned, I do have swatches of all the shades. I'm very impressed with this foundation so far. I've been reaching for it a lot, and it does perform beautifully even in hot, humid weather. I'm sweating right now, and this will stay on until I take it off. So I'm working with the CdPB concealer, a cult favorite. It's amassed a huge following, and for good reason. The coverage is insane. So pigmented, just a little goes such a long way, and yet it stays in place without creasing, especially in the potentially trepidatious eye region. So I'm using the new formula in the shade Almond, which is a good match right now for my skin. And this concealer, the only difference between it and the original is that it now has SPF 25. I have done some side-by-sides with Almond in my blog post to showcase the fact that there is no difference visually or texturally between the original Almond and the current brand new Almond. So the way I like to apply it is right from the bullet, one swipe in the under eye region per eye, and then I'll go ahead and blend it out with my Jenny Patikin domed multi-blender brush, which works so well. For cheeks, I'm working with the Burberry Warm Glow in Nude Glow, which is shade number 3. This is a beautiful pure tan bronzer, and I'm using my Surat Beauty Artistique cheek brush to go ahead and just lightly contour. I know there's been a movement away from contouring, and I've never really gotten crazy about contouring myself. I basically just use bronzer strategically. So if we're calling that contouring, then so be it, but I feel like this is just the way I like to apply. So I just suck in my cheeks and then blend adequately. You can see that a little of this goes a long way to really warm up the face, but it still looks extremely natural, which is what we want. It doesn't get orangey. It's just a great, like I said, authentic tan color. I'll also go ahead and bring a little bit of the bronzer across my neckline and jawline for some additional definition. I always feel like that's a great, very easy way to enhance the dimension of your face. Alright, to finish up my cheeks, I'm going to be working with 4 products, which could seem excessive, but I've been using all 4 a lot, so I'll show you how I like to layer them, especially to get a very natural glowy look that lasts the entire day. I'm going to start with the Must Have Cheeky Chic Blush in Light Coral, which, as the name would imply, is a very pale coral. I'll go ahead and use my same cheek brush to apply this, and I'm just going to go to the apples of my cheeks, and it kind of sets what I've already put on, so it adds a nice base. Now I will move on to the Dolce & Gabbana Creamy Face Color in Rose Calazia, which is such a beautiful warm toned pink, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the apples of my cheeks like this. tapping in, and using the warmth of my finger to really let this meld with my skin. You can see it adds a flushed, almost lit from within look, but there is no shimmer in this blush. It's a pure cream formula. Then for highlighters, I'll be working with two. I first have the Tom Ford Reflects Gilt highlighter, and I'm using my Surratt Beauty Artistic highlighter brush, which has a beautiful tapered point. It's always in my makeup bag. I'm mixing these two shades, a gold and a rose gold, and I'm sweeping it across the high points of my cheekbones here and down the bridge of my nose, a little bit on my forehead. And I like the fact that this highlighter actually imparts a bit of color, so it warms up the face, it adds a glow. Then I'm going to take a bit of the Chantecaille Powder Luminizer, which has less color overall, but if I want to place a bit more sheen on the face, I can do that without being worried about making my face too warm. So I'm going to bring a little bit more down the bridge of my nose, like that. And then I'm also going to put some right here at my Cupid's bow. I don't really want color there, which is why I'm using this very pale champagne tone. And then I'll bring a little bit up here by my brows in preparation for the eyeshadow to come. On to eyeshadow, I am using the Sisley eyeshadow in Mango, which is shade 20. This is not a new shade, but it caught my eye, and so I ordered it. And I'm actually working with a little bit bigger brush than normal. This is the Artis Fluenta Oval 4, which I find is great for an overall wash of color. So I'm just dipping this in. This Mango tone has a beautiful shift between a peachy kind of apricot and gold. So taking this and I'm just going to bring it across my eyelid like so. I like the fact that the Fluenta is basically the same size as my orbital region, so you can just get color placement on very easily and quickly, and I'm comfortable bringing this all the way to the brow bone because it is a very beautiful wash of color. Now I'm using a smaller Hakuhodo brush to bring a bit more of the Mango shade into my lower lash line for continuity. It's something I like to do when I'm using an overall wash of color. And then I'm going to take a bit of the Sisley Fido Ombre Glow eyeshadow, which has a more pronounced radiance, and this is in the gold shade. I'm also a huge fan of the amber shade. Gold, of course, is lighter. And I'm just using the same brush to bring it all the way up to my brow bone, like so. You can already see that radiance is coming through. And this, of course, is a very warm kind of summer eye, but I would do it in the fall as well. Bringing a bit of the gold close to the center of my lashes here. Okay. And finished. To take this eye to the next level, I'm going to be working with two different eyeliners. The first is the Gucci Impact Smoky Eye Pencil. It's an unmitigated favorite for my waterline, and so that's exactly what I'm going to do. One-handed, no less. I'm just sweeping this across my waterline to make my eyes pop. And this pencil is so friendly to sensitive eyes, water a lot like mine, and I find that it stays for the larger part of the day. I really need to touch up with this one. So there's that. And then I'm going to use the new Clé de Peau eyeliner. This is the Intensifying Liquid Eyeliner, and it has two sides, a small tip and a brush side. So depending on the type of line that you want, of course, you can embrace either. I'm going to use the small tip to tightline as closely to my upper lash line as possible to have a modified version of kind of a winged liner. So I'm just taking this and brushing it across my lash line. And you can see that after one stroke, this adds a very glossy, black, polished looking line that doesn't transfer. I've literally had 2 seconds since I applied it, and it's not transferring above. So it dries down quickly and stays in place. I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye. I may need 2 hands for this. We'll see. As I mentioned, this is some of the darkest, richest black pigment for a liner I've encountered to date. And I decided to do a very modified version of a winged line. I actually feel like less is more for me when I do a wing, so I just did a tiny wing and actually used my finger to kind of sweep it up to let it seamlessly blend into my eyeshadow. That's as far as I'm going to take it. For lashes, I'll be working with the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I've gone through multiple tubes of this in my lifetime, and it is one of my favorites, always in rotation. And I find that when I'm in a hurry especially, I can do like a coat and a half of this and get very full, long, of lush lashes that stay in place. You don't get flaking or smearing throughout the day, even though it's not waterproof. It performs beautifully, and yet, for some reason, paradoxically, it's also easy to take off. So, I don't know what's going on in this formula. I just know my lashes love it. Finally, for lips, I am going to talk about 4 products very quickly. There's the Charlotte Tilbury Reshape and Resize Lip Liner. Love the formula. I've used a lot of Pillow Talk in my time. This one's Pink Venus, and it came in the Nordstrom sale set that I purchased, and I've just been grabbing this a lot. I don't know what took me so long to try it. I think I thought it'd be too pink, but it's not. It's just a great flush, and it works really well, and my skin's a little deeper. So I'm just working around my lip line. I'm not going to go too far out, but I do like to give myself a little extra volume with the help of a pencil. Drawing it out like that and kind of just blending with my lips. So that's created a nice perimeter. And then for a pop of color, I'm working with the Clé de Peau Beauty Radiant Rouge formula, which launched last year. I've run through many of these, number 11 being, of course, one of my favorites. I've talked about it countless times, both in my videos and on the blog. I'm coupling it today with the number 14, which is kind of a peachy apricot color. Definitely has more depth. And I'm going to put that on first, because I think it just brightens the face, especially when you have a bit of a tan. And then I will add a touch of 11 just on my lower lip to lighten things up slightly. I find 11's a little creamier and more opaque, so it's a nice combination, the two together. And then I'm going to use just the slightest bit, because it's super concentrated, the L'Oreal Infallible Paints Metallics in Moonless, which is number 330. Doe foot applicator, no scent whatsoever. Beautiful formula. And it's very shimmery and metallic, as the name would imply. So I'm just adding a little bit to my lower lip to enhance dimension and volume for a very full peachy pink nude situation. Last but not least, I'm going to go back in and do my brows. I generally like a very natural brow, and I'm working with a brand new release from Burberry. It's the Full Brows Effortless All-in-One Brow Builder. So it has this clever powder applicator on one side, and this is in the shade Ash Brown, and I have very ash brown, dark brown brows, so it's perfect. And then on the other side we have kind of a tinted liquid that seals everything in. So you actually can build some volume here. It already comes pre-dispensed on the applicator tip, so I'm just going to sweep it through my brows like so and build in some volume. You can see that it's adding some nice depth and polish to my brow, but it's nothing conspicuous. Same with the other side here. Bringing it through, really just shaping things out a little bit. Filling in any sparse areas. All right, and now I'll go ahead and use the other side, the liquid side, to just seal everything in, add a little bit of polish and shine. And there you have it. My brows are fuller, more defined, and they will stay this way all day with this very cool formula from Burberry. To finalize this look today, I will use just a touch of the Suku Lucent Powder in number 203, which of course I've just worked to give my skin a glow, so it might seem counterintuitive to now use powder, but this is a glowy powder, so it evens out skin tone, and even though it's a powder, it doesn't look like a powder on the skin. But I'm going to go into areas where I know my skin is bound to get extra shiny, and that's going to be right along here, my mouth line, around my nose, and just a touch in my T-zone. So I really want to retain the rest of the glow on my face, but I'm also kind of reinforcing my trouble areas preemptively, and that really will mitigate the amount of touch-ups I need to do as the day goes on. And so concludes my summertime glowy yet long-lasting look tutorial. I truly hope you enjoyed this and would love to know which products may have caught your eye or which ones you are working with or are wanting to try. I just woke Jethro up from his nap, but I could not resist including him in the video because you guys always seem to love to see him and I love to share him with the world. He is such a sweet boy. So say hi. Hey, what's up? As always, don't forget to visit me at beautyprofessor.net. Take care.